Hi, I'm Peter Kalmstrom of kalmstrom.com Business Solutions. In this demonstration, I'll show you how to work with the counters and the faces in Kanban Task Manager for SharePoint. These counters are everywhere in the product. As you see, you have counters here over these faces here, and you also have a counter overall. And when you go into the 7 habits, you have counters all over the place. So you can see total there are 6 tasks here now. There's 1 important, 1 urgent, 5 not urgent. If I move 1 over here, you'll notice that these counters all updates, and now there's only 4 not urgent, and so on. And also here in the middle you have little counters there. If I decide to close one of these and set it to completed, there, 100% done, then it of course disappears from the 7 habits view because it's no longer an open task, so it doesn't need to be there. Now you only have 5 out of the 6 open in total there. That's the counters that you can find everywhere in the UI, both in the Kanban view and also in the 7 habits view. Moving on, I also want to talk about the faces. As you see, there are by default 5 faces, or statuses as SharePoint calls them, but you can modify that. You can modify it directly in the task list, like we did with the responsibles field or the assigned to field, but you can also modify it right here in the settings. So if I go into settings here, I have these same faces that we saw before, and if I want to change, for example, waiting for someone else, it's rather long, I just type in here waiting, and that gets saved when I click on save here, and that gets saved back to the SharePoint field, and also the other settings here that are not SharePoint settings, they are also stored. So if I want to hide one of these, deferred for example, we don't use the deferred, then of course I can also delete that row entirely, but in this case I want to keep it there, but I want to hide it. I can also say how many columns should be for each face. So for example, a not started, I might have quite a few of those, so then I add the number of columns and making that wider, and that's in the Kanban view. I can also have a default percentage for in progress, for example, then I put 20 there. Also, I have the work in progress here, which allows me to set a limit to how many tasks can be in that phase. So let's put that to 4 in progress at the same time. And that will not prevent you from creating more tasks, but in the Kanban view, it will show in red that you're over the work in progress limit there. And you can also change the sequence. So let's try these things out now that I've changed them. Refreshes the page, and now we see that the not started phase or status here is wider now. It has 2 columns, and in progress I can only have 4 there, so let's add more there. Now we have 2, 3 and 4, and let's add the 5th one there, and now you'll see that this is indeed in red, showing that this is over the work in progress limit. Also, you'll notice that these are all set to 20% now, because that's what I associated the in progress with. So if I open here, you'll see 20%. If I set it to completed, it sets it to 100. If I set it back to in progress, then it's 20. So those are the settings that you can do for faces. Thank you for watching this demonstration.